All right, something going on with the audio, but we're all good. Yeah.
Perfect.
Not using the good microphone, but it's all good. Yeah.
Perfect.
Not using the good microphone, but it's all good. William and Kim, if you guys could watch the folks coming in and let them all in, that'd be fantastic. To everyone else, it's great to see you all tonight. A really exciting topic that we have, and really thrilled to have District Governor Kirk Driscoll, as well as our own RPIC, Kelsey Mitchell, on tonight to talk about Rotary Needs Video. You know, Rotary video is so important right now as a part of any social media or public image strategy. We know that you know, the days of just posting photos and words, you know, those it's still gonna be meaningful, but with video we can make those personal connections with folks and really share the emotion of what it means to be a Rotarian and the good work that Rotary does around the world. And so tonight we have, as I mentioned, District Governor Kirk and RPIC Kelsey on to talk about why Rotary needs video and how important it can be. Before we get into their talk, though, I do want to remind everyone, we just opened up registration for all the world, all of humanity, to attend our virtual Zone Summit of Champions. It's going to be November 20th and 21st. You go to summitofchampions.org to register. We've got some really amazing speakers. As a result, the RPIC team isn't going to have a webinar in the month of November. There's some fantastic breakout sessions, some really incredible speakers. It starts Friday night, November 20th, all day Saturday, November 21st. So instead of a webinar for next month, we're going to have the Summit of Champions, and I encourage you to go there. We'll put a slide up towards the end of this session with all that information. But with that, I'm going to hand it off to Kirk and to Kelsey.
Thank you, Marshall. Kirk is going to go ahead and get our slides up.
Kelsey, I think you're muted.
Can you hear me?
I can hear Kelsey.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, well, we are going to go ahead and get started. I really appreciate you guys joining us. There's a quote from Mike Henry that says, "We're operating in a world where a good video can lead to a massive social following." It's one of my favorite quotes because it is absolutely true right now. It literally takes one video for you or your club or even your district to gain a lot of followers. So it's super, super important to have video incorporated into your strategies. We're going to talk a little bit about creating videos and a little bit about why videos are important. So understanding that social media posts with video actually have 48% more views, which is huge. So if you look at adding video to your posts, you'll actually get even more people that are engaging and are also starting to follow your pages. Those viewers will retain 95% of a message when they watch it in a video, compared to just 10% when reading it in a text. So think about, as you're scrolling through social media, you know, the videos, you'll actually comprehend a lot more of what the content is inside. And by 2022, online videos will make up more than 82% of all consumer internet traffic, which is just 15 times higher than it was in 2017.
And I am the incoming president. I'm super excited this year for Rotary Opens Opportunities. We are looking at kicking off a great project with our district grant, and that's probably one of the most exciting things for me. Our project this year is story walks, and so we're going to install 2 different story walk projects in a city and a county park. So we're hoping that's going to increase literacy and really get the people out and moving. Hey.
So can you see me all right, Kelsey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it's a pleasure to be with y'all. I don't know, my video of all things here was I was disappearing with my virtual background, so I'm not sure if that was just streaming on my side. But it's great to be with you, and we're working through kind of the non-video portion here on when to click from one screen to the next for you. So that played. Hopefully it was in a timely manner for you. It didn't, but as this is Kirk Driscoll, like they said earlier, so current governor 6900, and this video is just an example of what I had put together with just through Canva is what I had used with this, and it was just a simple shot with my phone You can hear the background noise inside the room so that you can tell it's not shot, from a professional standpoint, but it's shot to give a vibe of what's going on in the room and capture it and just put some information in it. And it's a template that's inside my Canva account. And so I can just load one video up after the next and just change a couple of the names. You want me to click to the next screen there for you, Kelsey?
So understanding, go back one, understanding that making videos can be a lot easier than what you might expect is going to be really important. I like to joke, but it's as easy as handing your 10-year-old the phone. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and she is fantastic at taking videos. And she's actually taught me several things, which is kind of ironic. But, in our family, at least, she will grab my phone and she'll take videos of her friends, and she'll take things that are really, really kind of cool, and she can edit everything right there in the app on the phone, which I think is really awesome. I've realized over time that a lot of it is me overthinking how difficult creating a video has to be. Creating a video can be super, super easy. You're making it harder than maybe it really needs to be. So like Kirk just said, a lot of videos can be taken just right from your smartphone, and you can edit things directly from there. One of the things at my company that we talk about is perfection kills profit. There isn't profit in Rotary. However, perfection can lead to inaction in terms of creating public image posts and actually creating content that you can use. So just keep in mind, it doesn't have to be perfect. It absolutely can be, raw footage that you just kind of stream and put together. The goal is to just add some content and to take action.
And that's the thing is too, it's like when that action happens, I mean, we all have the phones in our hand, right? But it's just hitting we're getting better at taking pictures, because it's there, but it's turning the video camera on to capture just that 5 seconds, 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds, whatever it might be, because it tells a story, of when it's actually happening, because that's what's occurring there at the meeting or at the event. I think we missed.
So there's a lot of different types of video that you can do. A time-lapse video is, a shorter video that actually takes a really long clip and speeds it up quickly. Live streams, you can do image slideshows, which I think people are maybe more comfortable with at this point. A boomerang video, which is a really short, 2 to 3 second clip that just goes on a constant loop. I think we've all seen on Facebook, they have the 360 experience videos, and you can do interviews as well. Couple quick tips to remember about videos. The first and foremost thing I always like to tell people is to clean your lens. It is so simple, but everybody forgets to do it. So if you're taking a video on your phone, just wipe the lens off and then take the video. It's really, really simple, but it definitely gets overlooked a lot. And then, adding images and music can really enhance your video. It can make it, a lot more than just typical footage. Shorter videos are better for sharing on social media. So keep your end platform in mind when you're creating your video. If it's going to be something that's shown maybe at the Zone Summit, it's on a big screen, okay, maybe a little bit longer is all right. But if you're going to be posting it to Instagram or to Facebook, you might want to do a shorter video. And then also understanding if you're posting something that's going to go on a computer or TV screen and you're taking it from your phone, hold it horizontal. But if you're doing it for social media, you'll want to hold it vertical. And then be mindful of lighting and background noise. I think the background noise specifically, there are times, especially if you're outside, maybe near a busy street, that you might take a video and you can't really hear what the person is saying because you hear the cars running by. So just being mindful of that. And then lighting. If you have a window maybe behind you when you're taking this video, oftentimes you'll have a shadow that's created. So maybe you have a ring light or something that you can use to create more light on the face of that person. So if you do have something like that, certainly keep that in mind. And creating a larger video with a bunch of smaller clips is also a great idea.
You know, can I add one thing there, Kelsey? Before I get the one thing I just bought, because I was trying to do like a wireless mic and I was trying to get way too fancy with it. And I ended up buying a 20-foot long mic that plugs into my iPhone. So it just plugs in the bottom of my iPhone and it's 20 foot long. And so I can stay, you know, and if you've got that environment where you don't want the back noise, the background noise and all that, it was like $10 on Amazon. I mean, so it's not some high dollar mic by any means. I don't have to worry about a battery going out, and it's just simple. I just have to deal with a cord and roll it up and stick it back in the little pouch, but it works. It works great. I don't know if you've used one, but I'm enjoying mine. And you can trip somebody occasionally. Maybe you can act like it was an accident, but if they're walking by, you know, you can trip them up there a little bit.
So there are just some other like editing basics that we want you to keep in mind as you're creating videos. But certainly it's a good idea to expand your learning with shortcuts within the app. So really think about the apps that you're using. We'll go through some options for you as well, but get to know them, play around a little bit. Apply some special effects if you can, even just in your regular camera app on your phone, depending on what kind of phone you have. You may have some special effects that you can add there. Same with colors and filters. I know, you know, on like iPhones, or I'm sure some Samsungs have some good filters that you can add. I'm a big fan of filters. You'll probably notice almost anything I post has a filter, but the videos as well, I like to add that. And then if you do have a lot of background audio, or background noise, you can actually mute your video and do a voiceover. That's always an option. Or you can add some background audio if you have a video that does not have anything on there. But getting familiar with the workspace, like I mentioned before, just playing around, it's really going to be the easiest way for you to get to know how to create videos, is just by trying something. Using imports and exporting videos, I find that it is very difficult to share your video with people, depending upon how long it is. So understanding that there are different free platforms that you can use to share videos as well. And then trimming, rearranging, adding audio and transitions, titles, and graphics are all really good tips and things that you'll want to learn how to do. So when you're editing videos, you can make sure to add those.
Do you use Canva yourself much on any video editing that you do?
I do, but only a little bit. Anything that I've ever created in Canva, as it relates to video, has always been like under 15 seconds.
Yeah, I like it. It's not the world's best editing. You know, you're not going to cut away or do anything, but just to shorten it, trim it on the front and back and shorten it. But then all the graphics and logo, it's just easier. I found it really easy to get it over there. So
absolutely. And it looks like Dolly has asked us what app we use for voiceovers. I typically will use an app that has the voiceover feature in it. So like a video editing app. We'll get to a little bit later, but I use iMovie and it has that voiceover feature in it. So it's not a separate app that I use. I don't know, Kirk, if you have something separate.
Anything that I'm putting a voiceover to would be through iMovie.
Okay. And Dan shared that Audacity is a good free app for playing with soundtracks as well. So thank you, Dan, for adding that.
Audacity?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to check that one out. All right.
So some other things to keep in mind, especially as it relates to copyright, is the music and the images that you're adding. You want to make sure that you have permission to use it. You can find some free music and images online, and there are video apps that have music, as well as there are apps that have free images as well. And I think, Marshall, don't you have a great story about, I forget who it was now, but somebody's walk-on entrance that you didn't maybe get permission?
It was Aretha Franklin. A lot of times with YouTube, you can use copyrighted music. You just can't monetize it, and you'll get a knock on your account, but it's really not that bad. But Aretha's estate said that we could not use RESPECT and actually blocked the publication of the video to YouTube. So there are some out there that will absolutely prevent you from using their music. going back, I meant to tell you guys, with Canva, one really good use case that I've seen with Canva and video is the Rotary Club of Jasper in Rotary 6910. They are doing some really cool stuff with Canva and video to introduce their speakers every week. Just a couple of cool videos spliced together, a little bit of action, kind of looks like the start of a broadcast television show. And I just had to give a shout out to the Rotary Club of Jasper for doing some really cool stuff with Canva and video.
Canva makes it pretty easy. It's limited more so than like an iMovie, but they make it pretty easy, especially if it's something you want to duplicate week after week or event after event, because it's already just sitting there and all you just drop in the other video in. So.
Absolutely. Their templates are great. I will say some of the videos I have added where I've needed to add like music, the features are kind of limited there, but they do have some free music. I've never heard of any of it. So it's not something that I'm ever like familiar with, any of the music. But there are certainly some songs and things that you can choose from, which is pretty great.
That's not saying much because Kelsey had never heard of, what was it? David Bowie. We had to explain to her what Space Oddity was.
I mean, sorry.
Okay, good. All right, next one here.
So talking a little bit about the tools, iMovie is my absolute favorite tool when it comes to video editing. I might like it just as much as or not just as much as I like Canva, but second as much as I like Canva. I do like it a lot. It's great. It is a tool for Apple users. So for those of you that are Samsung users, I can't really help you with the tool as much, only because I stick to iMovie in terms of my video editing. It is completely free, which I love. It gives you the ability to edit video clips and create really, really great products all within one platform. Like I said, there is everything from voiceovers to filters. You can add titles, transitions. I do know that some people that are not Apple users have told me about Filmora and Viva Video, and I'm sure there are other several options out there, but those are the ones that I'm familiar with. And if you look at the App Store, just read the reviews, I would say, before you download, something, but the reviews are typically pretty good and they help you kind of select the right option. But I'm a big fan of free. $3.99 is my favorite price. So I like to use free apps. I try really hard not to pay for any apps if I can avoid that at all.
The one thing too with iMovie, I mean, you can run it on your desktop or a MacBook, but also your phone and share them. But how user friendly is it, Kelsey?
iMovie?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. I'll do everything on my phone, but there is a desktop platform. I've never used it, but I'm sure that that's actually easier than the app. But it's very, very user friendly. I mean, it kind of walks you through and everything's categorized pretty easily. So I would say it's pretty easy. Yeah.
And I think it kind of takes you from a beginning stage to something super advanced if you wanted to, but I mean, they've got all kind of tutorials, and if anybody's got an iPhone with them and you got at least 2 videos in your phone, then you've got something that you can play with and use and cut up. So.
Absolutely.
This get to be me here. Is the handoff?
Mm-hmm.
You got to hand it to me there. All right. So here's the thing to kind of put it in perspective and just kind of how I went through this event. And this was at an official visit that I had with the Columbus Rotary Club. And they had 2 or 3 other clubs. It was the North Columbus and Muskogee, all clubs, and their Rotary Club all came together and they had a drive-through service project. And so I was there getting to participate like a lot of other families they were having that were there. And so I had my phone, just this one, just this little, little iPhone here. Oh, it's disappearing with the background. But so this wasn't shot with anything other than just my phone. And this is just a gallery view of what my phone looked like from that event. But what I wanted to show is the reason why these 2 here are pulled out down here at the bottom. Well, these were the 2 main videos that I used for the baseline of the video. And I pulled them and exported these clips over to the iMovie app in my phone, and then laid it down. So if you look at the bottom here, below the yellow lines, or below the yellow circles, is the main long video, and it's like 2 minutes long. But rather, Joe's a great guy. This is the current president of the Columbus Club. He's a great guy. And I'm sure that you would have possibly enjoyed just listening to just him talk for 2 minutes and look at just him. But the thing is he was the one that was telling the story of who he is, what club he's in, and what they were doing. And so that was my story. And then all that's in this yellow section here is other videos from that same evening. And so just like we selected those other videos that we showed in that previous picture, what it looks like is when you select them and you drag, you select it over, and then you drag it over on top of the video, you've got really four options. You can do a cutaway, green or blue screen, split screen, or picture in picture, or kind of the four options that they give. And I know it's a little awkward trying to explain it here, but that's as complex as it gets with this and iMovie on your phone. And so, just drag over a couple and just try it. But what a cutaway is you'll see, rather than watching Joe talk for 2 minutes, a cutaway is simply you keep that same video and all the audio, and that's my baseline, but the video that you drag over on top of it cuts away, so you see a different image. So if you listen to what he's saying and talking, when you see that, what it end up happening is the video that he's talking about is what I'm showing. So I captured his story in the beginning, and then I knew what other videos and pictures I needed to capture so I could tell the story of what the service project was like. And I always love it here. You get another big long section of video, and I think Kelsey's already mentioned it there, where you want to kind of keep it as short as you can to the point in case someone interested. So this was a great kid that was here, as a Rotarian son that was there with us, and it was awesome. He gets it when you get to hear him here in just a second. I mean, he gets it, but you didn't want to listen to him for 6 minutes, So when I got these yellow highlights here, that was just a section of that video that I cut out, because all the inner, in between one thing to the next, and he's talking to everybody. It's not to discount it, but it was, hey, how can we keep this to 2 minutes, keep you engaged, and tell a story? And so that's not a cutaway or an over, that's just a deleting it. There again, I know it's hard looking at this, but I promise you, if you just load up a couple of pictures to iMovie on your phone that from your gallery, you'll do it pretty quick and easy. And so here's the thing is with me is when I saw the child at the event with his father, I knew what the storyline was that I wanted to tell. The president's telling one story, but then the great thing with video is you get to create the story. You get to create the message and the takeaway. And so I waited specifically for the father and his two sons to leave. And when they left, I had my phone in my hand and I videoed that walk away, because what I wanted you to be left with is something that's important to me. And so it's hard if you sat here, and said, oh, well, you can't do this. Well, I couldn't do what I did here at this event had I not planned on it. So when I got there, I got the story from the president. So then I knew what I wanted to tell when I looked around. So when you end up, this isn't a professional video. This was shot from an iPhone in a parking garage. And after dinner, in about 20 minutes after we got done with this event that evening, it was edited on my iPhone and published to Facebook. So this is just a
I'm Joe Young. I'm the president of the Rotary Club of Columbus. We've got members here from our club, from Muskogee Rotary, from North Columbus Rotary Club, and we've got some Rotary actors that are going to be coming through a little bit later. We are doing a district grant service project to benefit Hope Harbor, which is a shelter in town that's a place for victims of domestic abuse and domestic violence. And so we're boxing up some household items for them to turn around and provide to families that they serve. It's a great way for folks to get involved. We've set up an assembly line here because of the pandemic. We've had some drive-through participation. You're putting one in each box?
One in the box.
Okay. Okay, well, show me where you're going. Yep. Oh, so you put the towels in? Okay. All right. Okay. Man, you're really good at this. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yep. Man, did you train for this? Like, no? But toothpaste? Oh yeah. So what do you think about this?
It's really fun and really easy.
It's really fun and really easy?
Yeah.
Well, why are you doing it?
To help people in need that don't have all this stuff.
Well, we've got some ice cream and cookies to share, but we're really excited to get all the clubs together in a collaborative effort to help out a great organization.
I think this video is great. And Kirk mentioned something that I don't even know if he knows how important it is, but he said, you know, when I saw the kids and his dad leave, I wanted to make sure I had my phone out so that I could get the message that I wanted to send across. And I think a lot of times when people are creating videos, they do focus on maybe the club president or somebody who is in charge of making the video and creating that content, and they get it from their point of view. But, you know, capturing this project from a child's point of view is huge. I think that changes the feel of the video because you really add that emotion from somebody who it wasn't expected from, if that makes sense. That's just my personal feelings, but I do really love that. And I think it's really important to make sure that you are taking, you know, different types of content from different people. And also just having your phone ready. Take videos of all sorts of stuff that you see. Don't worry about editing it while you're taking the video. Take a ton of pictures, take a ton of video during the event, and, you know, edit and do everything afterwards. And Joanne just mentioned to make sure to get permission of photos for kids. Absolutely. That's definitely something to, and that's video and photos as well, but definitely something. Kim mentioned that Hootsuite has some video specs. Somebody asked a question a little bit earlier about video specs for Instagram and Facebook. Hootsuite definitely has that. From my perspective, I can just tell you, I edit everything like it's going to Instagram, and then I go ahead and I just share it from Instagram directly to Facebook, and I've never really had any issues.
Anything else there on that one?
No, that's good. You can keep going.
Yeah. So the thing I love about it is when Joe said at the beginning, and he started talking about the ice cream and cookies, right? The interesting thing is the kids never ate any ice cream and cookies, right? It was everybody else, but it was that, you know, it was that he told the story and what the project meant to him and to his club. And then it's how do you tell that story and engage folks there? I think this next one is a little bit different video, but I'd be curious to see if when Christian and I put this video together, there was a particular feeling that I wanted you to feel after you watched it. And if anybody can guess what it is, I'll make a donation to polio this evening for $100 in your honor. If you can watch this video and see what movie scene, where do we want you to be standing at the movie scene, and I will tell you it's towards the very end of the movie, and see if you can take this feeling here.
You know, the Rotary's theme this year is Rotary opens opportunities. I mean, that's President Holder's theme for the 2021 year. And I believe that Rotary embraced that theme and looked the issues straight in the face and said, okay, where do the opportunities lie amidst all of this chaos and all this fear? And all those are legitimate emotions, but Rotarians don't shut down and we don't sit on the sidelines and watch. We're people of action, and we do. And it's been awesome to see what has occurred.
Any guesses?
If you have a guess, type it in the chat. I will
And
say
it would be
for-
the first person, so I don't go broke tonight. It is would be the first person that could guess it, right? And I can't see the chat because I'm sharing the.
somebody guessed Raising Arizona.
No,
I've never heard of that, Marshall. I will say I have no idea, and I have zero guesses. I literally have no clue. It might be something before my time. Mary said Forrest Gump.
no. Take one more. Take one more guess.
Somebody said, I don't even know if I should say that out loud. I will, but somebody said Breaking Bad. Someone else said Field of Dreams.
So if you remember the movie Braveheart,
I've never seen Braveheart.
and you know when it's after he's died, but it's it's everything he's worked for and everything he's walking out down through the field, and his hands are hitting the top of the blades of grass, and like he's going home, and it's changed. Anyway, sorry. Anyways, that's what we were thinking. So it didn't work this evening, but it's there. So
Dan says, isn't that Gladiator?
Or Gladiator. Is it Gladiator? The one. I think it may be Gladiator. It may be Gladiator. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I have never seen either one of those movies, but I'm gonna.
Now you need to watch it, and then you can let us know. So I think it's get the next slide here for you. There you go.
Perfect. So one of the video tools that we talked about earlier, or that we mentioned, was live streaming. I'm sorry, I have to say this. Sean said you need to pay $200 since you named the wrong movie.
Well, that's probably a pretty good point.
I had to mention it. I'm sorry. So talking about live streaming. So live streaming can be a really, really great tool when it's used at the appropriate time. I'll add that little caveat there. It's normal now, I feel like, to live stream things. It gives you the ability to, really just have even more people attend your event, which I think is really cool. You can live stream everything from like video blogs where you're talking about your clubs. You can live stream certain parts of your event and, maybe even speakers. The caveat I'll give that I kind of mentioned is just make sure you're using it at the right time. So if you've got, speakers, you might not want to live stream every single speaker you ever have, but maybe if you have, a high profile speaker or something like that, you certainly could live stream those events. And understanding that the opportunities are endless with live stream. You really can get a wide range of your audience and people. And it also gives you a more diverse audience. So if I'm live streaming an event and maybe I tag Kirk in it, all of Kirk's friends will be able to see it as well, which I think is pretty cool because typically they wouldn't have seen my video. So live streaming certainly can help you grow. And it gives people the ability to be at home, but also attend your event as well.
Yeah,
Hey, Kelsey?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wave to everybody on Facebook because you're live streaming to Facebook right now.
Oh, hey.
You know what's great too about that I just want to give props to Rotary International. And, we had to cancel our international convention this last year, right? And for over 100 years, it's been in person and it's been live. And they switched and pivoted a huge organization really quick when we think about it. But on a personal note, from a live stream, my daughter had been selected to speak in a breakout session in around human trafficking and how she engaged her Interact Club about it. Had they not went virtual and not been streaming, a couple, 200-300 people would have been in a breakout room on an average, afternoon session. When that call went live through their platform, we had someone present from every continent in the world on that call that day. I mean, that's the reach that you were just talking about. And it really opens the door for us to be able to share our message without many boundaries whatsoever, as long as they have access. So it's a great point, Kelsey.
And keep in mind when you're live streaming, you do want to know that your audience is wider. So now that Marshall has mentioned that we're live streaming on Facebook, I probably shouldn't have told everybody I haven't seen Gladiator. Now I'm sure I'll get a bunch of messages. Oh my gosh, you haven't seen that? But keeping that in mind as well, that's certainly something. And you can go ahead to the next slide. There are so many other things I love about live streaming. I will say I was at a club meeting for my own personal club, and our district governor, Darrell Keys, came to visit the club. And one of the things that he told us about was about how he visited a club and they were meeting on Zoom. So this was right during, I want to say it was probably like March or April something. It was right during the heat of, when COVID and the shutdown and everything first happened. And he said that he was doing a visit there. And a 92-year-old man was laying in like a bed eating. And one of the things that this man said was, I haven't been able to be at a Rotary meeting recently. And I love that it's now virtual. And when our district governor shared that story with me, it really struck me. I was like, wow, I never really thought about it that way, in a sense where there are people that, maybe were Rotarians or are still Rotarians that can't come to the club meeting for health reasons or work or, anything else, but people that can't attend the meetings. And live streaming and doing meetings on Zoom really does give you the ability to reach out to those people again. So it was a really impactful moment for me during his presentation. And I think it's something to keep in mind. It definitely adds that, hybrid meetings are occurring every single day. There are clubs that are meeting in person, and then they're also streaming it. So understanding that there are so many different tools and so many different ways that you can stream. It's pretty great that you can use the video content in this way to keep your meetings going, even during a pandemic and things like that. So I thought it was pretty cool. So somebody asked a question about Hootsuite and getting it for free, the full product. I don't know the answer to that. So I will defer if Marshall or anybody else on the team knows the answer to that question. I don't particularly know that, but I do know that Hootsuite is a really great platform. For those of you that don't know, it syncs all of your social media platforms, so you can kind of post in one place and it goes out to everything. So that is something to look for. Certainly we can look for that answer.
Yeah, I just posted it I found something on Hootsuite about nonprofit discounts. So check that out. And also, I'm sorry, but going back to your point about hybrid clubs and hybrid meetings, there is a startup guide that was created in coordination between zones 34 and 33. I'll also put a link in the chat to that too, that shows you how to, from very, very easy to a little bit more complex to pretty complex. But hybrid meetings are a huge opportunity for Rotary to keep people connected when they travel, when they may be sick or ill, or when they just work-life balance doesn't allow them to attend meetings. Yeah, if you have any questions about hybrid meetings, that's something that your RPIC team can certainly help you with as well.
Absolutely. And you mentioned discounts. I know Canva has a nonprofit discount as well, so that's something to look at. So some content ideas. So certainly it's a good idea to create projects and to showcase some of your projects and those things. You can also do fundraisers and events. I'm a big fan of color runs, which is why this picture's on here. I feel like you get so many really cool pictures and videos from stuff like that. And, go ahead to the next one. It's also, you can do like networking events, socials, and club meetings as well.
Well, you quit laughing. What are you doing? I mean, what's so funny is that getting sucked up in your nose? What is that? What's happening? Wait do you see that? Well,
And so you got to have your phone in your hand. So when the mask starts getting sucked up in someone's nose, you can get her laughing and you get it in there. I mean, it's that, I mean, content is in front of us all the time, and Kelsey, it's just whether we capture it or not.
Absolutely. And I love this video. I think it's so funny. It is so simple, right? It shows the kind of friendship that you have with some of your fellow Rotarians, but it just shows something that is genuinely funny. And I think it's amazing. You know, everybody is wearing masks, or a lot of people are wearing masks these days, and it's not always the most fun thing. So to make something fun out of that, I just think is really special. And it's not hard. Right? You had your phone, you saw something funny, took a video, and you guys had a good laugh, and sharing that is absolutely important.
Yeah. And she didn't sign off where I could use this one, but we're going to keep using this one because she's one of my AGs. So I get to keep aggravating her with it. Every time I see her, I text it to her. So, but it is funny.
So talking a little bit about, you know, capturing the individuals in your club, certainly everybody has a story, and it's important to make sure that you are showcasing the stories, you know, that you have inside your club and even your club story. So for those of you that don't know, I'll share a little bit about my story. You know, I have been in Rotary for a number of years, but when I first joined, I was in Rotaract and I joined Rotary. And to be completely honest, I didn't really find a club that I fit into perfectly. And the district governor at the time, Cindy Dora, kind of recommended, hey, you know, maybe you should start your own club. And I'm not gonna lie, that was very scary. However, it actually worked out. And I did end up chartering a club. So I started my Rotary journey as a charter president. And then I moved into just really getting involved. I did a lot of foster care, and that came out of a speaker that we had at one of our club meetings. And then after Hurricane Irma, I did a lot of cleanup efforts. And that is really where I feel like my Rotary journey kind of changed and adjusted. I ended up meeting my husband at one of the projects that we were at. And, you know, I gained 2 more beautiful babies out of that. And, you know, I already had 1 daughter. So, you know, I became a mother of 3. And I think it's important to tell, just in a sense of, you know, you never know how Rotary has impacted someone's life. You know, after I met my husband, I moved to Georgia and I accepted the position I have today with our zone. So I think, you know, things change and people's stories are really impacted, you know, by their Rotary experience. So there's a lot of things in my life that I can attribute to Rotary. My passion for helping children, especially. I did something called, it was pre-foster care. I did foster care, but then I did something that helps keep kids out of the foster care system, an organization called Better Together. And that completely changed me. I mean, it completely changed my life and my outlook on everything. So I would definitely make sure that, you know, you're talking to your club members and understanding, why are they in Rotary? What projects and things do they like? You know, what has really impacted them? Because everybody's story is different, and you'll be very surprised at some of the things that you hear.
So the thing, the story is, and I think it's the next slide, I believe it is it, rather than share my story, I had this is part of my story, because this moment was, my wife and I were on a service project with my personal Rotary club. And this moment shifted her. This is her Rotary moment where her world collided, and the reality of those 2 worlds collided. And this was day 3. So this wasn't the first afternoon. We had been pouring these floors and working like this for 3 days, but it took that long for her world and her view to be unpacked, where she looked around and realized this very thing. And I just happened to have the camera in my hand to capture it. And so then after I caught that, then it was to shoot the main line of the video. And I'd like to share, this is my wife Dina's Rotary story right here.
To sleep and to have a floor and maybe has a good life. So she lived in bad condition, but now she will be sleep better because she will be have. But they don't even have any sheets in. Did you sleep on the dirt? She has no nothing. Yeah. So they live in bad condition. You see the roof. I don't know if you can see the roof.
Yep.
It's plastic. So it's hard, but this is the life here for some people.
Today we came with Dorcel to a family that is extremely poor. She said this is probably the poorest family she has seen here in Los Robles. And so they have this maybe like 8 by 10 home, no bathroom. Their kitchen was outside with one little stove to cook one pot of beans or something on. The family, the husband is an alcoholic. The wife works very hard. She actually has, I don't think it's a glass eye, it's like a diseased eye, but from the age of 10, she got a disease, and so she has a disability. She has one daughter, and this is one bed I see right here that they had to move out. Here is one bag of clothes. It looks like there's one little bitty suitcase underneath the bed of maybe a couple more clothing items. And I think there's one more bed right there that Dory South said maybe the baby sleeps on. Or, so we got to give them the blessing of a concrete floor. So that's just a little glimpse of how blessed we are back home in the U.S. Very, very touching when I first walked up, and very moving, very sad. But I love the silver lining I've seen of our experience here is that everybody is extremely happy still. They have smiles on their face. They work very hard, and they're grateful for what they have.
Thank you for coming here to help to sleep better after this project. Because she has the one daughter, and sometimes she sleeps on the floor, and she said sometimes she has no bed for her. And she was so happy when Mary come here, and she asked for the floors, and she made many hours to get it, volunteers hours. And she said, thank you for coming here. To be.
So the moment there, to have that captured in that raw emotion, you can't fabricate that. But at the same point in time, you can't capture it if you're not looking for that story to tell. So thank you for letting me share that with you.
Yeah, I'll just add, it's always hard. The first time Kirk showed me this video was a few days ago. And I know Dina, and I watched this video and I teared up when I was watching it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a concept that I think some people just don't understand until they do a project, until they have one of those Rotary moments, if you will. They just don't understand. And that video captured her moment. I mean, it really captured the emotion where she realized, oh my gosh, wow, like, look at the differences. I think she says it in there, they're just asking for a concrete, does she sleep? Does she have any sheets? Does she just sleep on the floor? I mean, and you can hear it in her voice. It is so genuine and so true. And you never want to see people cry, but at the same time, like, you see her crying in this video and it tears at you, and you're just like, oh my gosh, yes, I feel that same thing just from watching her. So, I think, of course, the video is not perfect and it doesn't need to be, but it showcases the perfect emotion to get the point across. And I think that's super important. It reminds me of a little girl, Marilyn, that I had. I fostered her for several months. And one of the greatest moments that I had with Marilyn, I will say I had the joy of having her through Christmas and Thanksgiving and just through that holiday season. And she was my first child that I ever had through foster care. And one of the things I will never forget is my oldest daughter, Audrey, and Marilyn and I were driving in the car and we were pulling into our neighborhood. I lived in a gated community at the time. And we drove down the street and we had trees lining the street that all had Christmas lights on them. And she just started screaming and shouting. She was so happy and she was clapping her hands at the Christmas lights. And I was like, oh, do you like that? And she was so excited. She was about 4 and she just was clapping. She's like, I love this. This is so beautiful. And I thought about it and I'm like, I've been making this drive every day for 2 years now, and I hadn't stopped to really look at how beautiful this drive really is. And it was something that just reminded me, it's like, wow, from somebody else's perspective, this is what you want to capture. I wish I had a camera in that moment because it's somebody else's perspective. So making sure that you're capturing that in your videos is really important. Dan asked a question about what is the best practice for capturing people in need without making them feel bad or exposing their situation to the public? I think that's a really good question. I think honestly, you have to ask that person what they're comfortable with sharing. I mean, and it's a simple question you can say in the beginning, hey, I'm interested in telling people a little bit about your story. Can you tell me what you're willing to share or what you feel comfortable sharing? Here's the audience of where it's going to. These are the things that, I really want to showcase. Are you okay with that? And just being as transparent as you can. William also mentioned, if, unless they give you permission, maybe blurring out their face if they're not comfortable sharing who they are. Maybe you can still share the story by blurring out their face or something along those lines. That certainly is a good option. And I know my husband works with an orphanage in Armenia and they can't share the kids. So they'll do that quite often. They'll blur out the kid's face and then they'll have them share something or they'll share something as well. So you might be thinking to yourself, now that you have all this awesome video content, what are you going to do with it? First and foremost, we have a video contest for Zone 34. So if you're in Zone 34, we have an annual video contest. I will say the rules of this contest are changing this year. So we have a few things. So if you've entered in the past, we have a few things that you'll want to kind of keep in mind. We do have a new rule of that the video must be 30 seconds or less. So we are trying to challenge people to use videos that they can post on social media. And we find that a video of 30 seconds or less oftentimes will get more views. So also, we are asking that you include a call to action within your video. So making sure that you're getting the people that are watching your video to do something. So if it's, around a project, you can ask for donations or some kind of call to action at the end. And we will give higher scores for a hook within the first 5 seconds. So think about, why should I watch this video? You have typically 5 seconds to grab somebody's attention, especially on social media. If they're scrolling through, you have a very limited amount of time to grab their attention. So understanding that you have a hook within the first 5 seconds of why me as the viewer, why should I watch this video? That definitely will get higher points for our video contest. And we're going to give lower points if you use copyrighted material, because that's no, as Marshall has learned, you can't do that. So
Aretha Franklin's mad at me. The ghost of Aretha Franklin.
You don't want to make enemies with Aretha Franklin. So please don't use copyrighted material. We will lower the score. Music is a big one. that is typically something that we see in our video contests all the time, is that people are using copyrighted music, so their video can't play, so your audience doesn't get the full, image or the full point that you want across. So those are the key things for our video contest.
This is just a little short one that we did. This was Canva. It was in there. We did a 6 club distribution, or 6 Rotarians from 6 different clubs. One person could have drove to 215 miles, but this just gave a good little short call to action, kind of what was happening there. And I think you got your screen. You mean to hit to this next one, Kelsey, after this?
Yeah, this is fine. Oh, Dan asked what the prize is for our video contest. That is a great question, Marshall.
Yeah, we're going to be sending out all the details for the video contest very soon to everyone that registered for this webinar, as well as the fantastic prize, including a case of turtle wax. Or now, Kelsey probably doesn't get that, but we're going to have some great prizes. Again, going back to the video contest, want to see everyone just come up with some really cool, creative ideas. And that call to action, it could be giving money. It could be just, hey, go to this website and learn more about Rotary. But something at the end to help folks make that logical next step to learn more about Rotary. So, but we'll figure out the prizes, and we'll put all the details and rules in a list. I think Kelsey made a couple of those up as she went. No, she didn't.
I added a few.
Yeah. They were good though. They were good rules.
Those are the ones I like.
So, yeah. Well, we're about 2.5 minutes before the end of the top of the hour, and thank you for throwing that slide up with all the great resources that we make available. If there's folks that weren't able to make it tonight, we do record all of these and we make them available. So I'm going to put that here in the chat too, past webinars. So you can go back and find all of the past webinars. But do we have any other questions, or anybody have any last tips or tricks or ideas for?
I would just say
Kelsey?
make sure that when you're sharing videos and when you're posting videos, use the hashtag Rotary Shares so that we can see them. We love to see the content that comes out of our zone, and we want to make sure that we're sharing your content as well. So use that hashtag if you can.
Absolutely. It is. And that's a great point that Kelsey brings up, is following hashtags of other Rotary clubs is a great way to see what everyone else is doing and get some great ideas and inspiration. So on Instagram or in Twitter, Facebook supportive hashtags, isn't that great? But absolutely, please use hashtag Rotary Shares. And as I mentioned, we have the virtual Summit of Champions on November 20th and 21st. It is at www.summitofchampions.org. Go register. As I mentioned, we're not going to have a webinar in November because we want everyone to attend this. It's going to be really inspirational and really a lot of really good content. But I don't see any questions. So with that, Kelsey, Kirk, thank you so much. I mean, this was really, really good stuff. And the way that you guys showed people telling stories with those videos, and just how easy it is to capture the moment and memorialize that and to share it. I think that's the most important thing that we can do as Rotarians is share these stories, share the impact, share the things that the ways that Rotarians are people of action, and makes a difference in people's lives. So thank you so much, both of you, for putting this together.
Happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity to share with you, especially my wife's Rotary moment. So anytime I can share that, I'm all game.
Well, that was powerful. And again, sharing your Rotary story is a really cool way to again explain to folks why we're a part of this wonderful organization. With that, everyone, we'll be sending out a link to this recording in the next 24 hours so that you can watch it again if you want, or share it with others. We also have, as I said, all the archived ones up on Vimeo. We even have a Roku channel. If you have a Roku, look for Rotary Zone 34 Public Image Team. It's kind of cool. So as always, we're always here to support and help you all, your districts and your clubs. And I look forward to seeing you all again really soon. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a good night.
Good night.